Hello, my name is Ilze and I'm the host of this podcast. Today I'm having a conversation with Sandra, who is my colleague in this project. Sandra is a 35 years old woman from Romania. Professionally, she defines herself as nature-based, soul-centric human development guide and mentor. She is heartfully inviting people to be in intimate and meaningful relationship with their soul. Sandra calls humans to fall in love with nature, metaphor, symbol, feeling, and therefore with themselves, and live their bigger lives delivering their gift to the hungry world. For the past 6 years, Sandra has been diving into her wholeness through Bill Plotkin's work. She swims through Map of the Human Psyche, which we present in this project, so fluidly, showing us the interconnectedness of different resources of self and the world. Sandra really and truly transmits poetic, humbleness and boldness at the same time, through her work and whole being. People sometimes call her forest fairy, at least I have heard that. If you experience her, it makes total sense. Enjoy the podcast.
I'm really happy seriously and honored to welcome you to this podcast, Stories of Wholeness, because you have been one of the creators and actually initiators of this project.
Thank you very much, Ilze. I'm really happy and excited in many ways to be here.
We are both nervous in certain ways, and let's keep it that way, and just see where the conversation flows and goes. But for every guest, I ask the first question as an opening question: who are you today? So, Sandra, who are you today?
I do have an image of who I am, and I will try to reflect that image in words. I am a rooted person, really rooted, kind of almost touching the middle of the earth, the river that feeds us all. This much rooted, and also a winged person, having wings and seeing from above and loving from above this world that I am living on, and so many other humans and creatures. I think I'm meant to allure and guide people into their own maturation and transformation, and to make the best of my capacities to inspire them to fall in love with this world and therefore with themselves.
That sounds beautiful. That's also very poetic. Have you ever and always been that poetic?
I love this question. I love poetry, and I don't know if I was always so poetically. When I was asking my mom, she was saying that one of my gifts when I was a little one, it was that I was writing in a very beautiful way. But poetry really came to me in the more recent years as I was diving deeper and deeper into this journey of soul and cultivation of my wholeness. Yeah.
Could you share this story and journey of yours? How did you come to wholeness, the concept of wholeness, and doing the work that you're doing now?
So, like all great journeys, also my journey started with a call to adventure, and this form of call for me was in form of a book, one of Bill Plotkin's book, namely Soulcraft. That was the first book that I read, and very closely to reading this book, it came an invitation to participate to a program that Animas Valley Institute was organizing here in Europe, namely back then it was in France. In less than 3 months, I enrolled to this program after reading a little bit about these concepts, soulcraft and soul and wholeness. And here I am together with other 6 people. It was a really small group, and I was touched. And that program had everything in it: sorrow and beauty and despair and ecstasy. Wow, 5 days were like living 5 years. That was how impactful it was, that program for me.
And how did you come to this moment that you're guiding other people in this work? How did it happen, or what happened to you?
Yeah, I think there were kind of 2 streams of happening in the same time. So I am already now for 12 years an educator and a trainer, working with people in the educational field, guiding teachers, youth workers, young people, young adults. And at that time, I was very much into the non-formal education and holistic education. And then once I knew these new concepts of depth psychology and nature-based methodologies, and after also attending another program, which is called the Vision Quest, in which I begged, I kneeled for a vision. Mystery really whispered me to go deeper and to dare to bring these concepts into the already established field that I was working. So smoothly, I could say that it was a smooth change, and at the same time, it changed everything. Yeah, I'm still an educator, still a guide, but the way and the concepts that I'm bringing to the people that I'm working with are really connected with soul and with wholeness and the journey of this lifetime of ours.
It's the work that you are doing and how you are doing it. It's really beautiful to experience it, talking from experience. And I really want to thank you for being that brave and daring to do that, and daring to bring this concept and these ideas into youth work, and working with the young people and youth workers. And not only that, but how has it been for you, this change? Because I imagine it should be, and it is, kind of challenging. It feels challenging sometimes to bring new ideas and new ways and approaches into something that already seems established and it should be in a certain way.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So let me answer to the 2 aspects that you talked about. So previously, you thank me, and you thank me for my braveness, and I'm really happy you are one of the people that were and still is receptive to my work. And just recently, I was thinking about this compliments, because you were very abundant in complimenting me just now of how brave and great I am as a guide. And I am just recently learning how to receive compliments, because it's very easy to say, no, oh, those are too big words for me. But when I'm saying yes, thank you, with a humbleness and boldness, I'm also taking responsibility of these words. So it's not only, oh, I don't deserve and I'm not that one. I am, thank you. I will continue being brave and bringing novelty in the field that I'm working. So that was something that was really fresh in my mind, and it seemed to me a good moment to share it. So thank you. And the second one, how is it to bring innovative concepts and daring to bring new ideas in a field that it's more or less established? Well, I don't know. I think the field of education, it's never really settled. It's an ongoing being, almost a creature of its own, that is changing and transforming So I just went with the flow, with the river of my own change, and I think my own change led me to offer change for others as well. And this concept is so valuable for me. I don't know if I believe in anything so strongly than this concept. Or maybe not that I believe, but I'm really passionate. And I think when people, educators, trainers, that people that are influencing in a way or another other people, when these ones are passionately in love with what they're doing, then things are really flowing, and people do receive what you are here to offer.
That's great. That sounds great. And when you mentioned really this, that field of education is ongoing process, really, yeah, it makes sense totally. Yeah, is it really established? Maybe just like my idea, or some kind of old story that it is established. Yeah, it's really amazing to hear and to experience people bringing in new innovative approaches, and it makes me happy, and to see that everything is changing, and it's great. So I have a question. What resources you needed to develop in order to continue this work, and actually to develop yourself and go deeper within yourself?
Beautiful. I think that our listeners are already familiar with the nature-based map of the human psyche. I will refer to this common language that we now have. And for me, at the beginning, I wished the map to have only 3 directions. Namely, it was terribly hard for me to connect with the east direction, with the innocent and sage and trickster and sacred fool. It took me years to really just to say, yes, I will open the door towards being curious about how to develop humor and to be foolish and to live or to see life from a light perspective, and that was really difficult, and eventually that also turned out to be the key for my further development. So I couldn't really go further without having a solid facet of East also developed. Obviously, all the other facets I constantly am developing, and especially maybe after East, especially South was the most repressed. And this is not, unfortunately, this is not making me very unique, because most of the contemporary people living in Western society are having this South wild indigenous one repressed. So it took me some time also to awaken the wildness, the erotic, the emotional, the healthy one. Not crying doesn't mean that we are wild indigenous people. It might also mean that we are immaturely being hurt, and we are acting from a place of woundedness. But that was easier. Wild indigenous one was easier than East. Yeah.
So humor and lightness, as I hear.
Exactly.
That what was a challenge for you. So what happened? What gave you the courage, actually, and what inspired and gave you strength to go there?
Yeah, beautiful. Also, this question, I love it. I think I had no other choice, really, because I felt like in the journey of my own journey of soul, I encountered a barrier, a wall. And I knew that in order to go through it, I need to focus and to dare more, to risk my significance, quoting from a verse of a poem. Another thing that helped was to tune in with my uniqueness. How am I humorous and lighthearted in my own way?
Tell me, what gave you this courage? And you mentioned that you didn't have other choice.
Right. I had no other choice but to go deeper into the uncomfortableness, because the least developed or cultivated facet of the self is also the most uncomfortable. We wouldn't choose it by default. We wouldn't go there to say, oh, yummy, let's do these practices. No, on the contrary, let's do all the other practices and leave this aside. So I had no choice. In order to continue the journey of my own soul, I needed to go there. That's one idea. And then another idea that really helped me was to tune in with my uniqueness, with my way of being lighthearted, with my way of being humorous in this world. Because humor, jokes can have such different shapes and forms, and it helped me to accept and cherish my own way of being a trickster and a sacred fool.
Could you tell maybe some examples? What were your ways you developed this trickster and humor and lightness?
You are.
What were your very, very personal ways?
You are yourself a trickster right now, kind of, insisting with this question. I love it. It's, you see, I'm right now developing it by saying yes to your questions. So I think, how? Well, I consider myself a person that has a very strong West facet of wholeness developed. So the muse and inner beloved. So I think I reached my East through my West. So I'm the kind of person that makes very dry jokes, very dark almost. And very rare. It's not, I'm not a stand-up comedian. Who knows, maybe I will be one day, but for now, I'm not. And then, when things are really thick with depth, then my trickster feels like telling a joke or asking a question in the way that it will shake the status quo of the people that are hearing. So I don't know if I answered your question, but this is the answer. Yeah.
That sounds a bit like this. Reminds me of stand-up comedy in a way. Is to actually to tell in the darkest moments, or to tell the truth. Actually, to really to have the courage to tell the truth out loud. Something that people normally wouldn't say. We would try to hide it. But this is, I see, the point of joking, really, the one that I resonate with a lot, actually. So maybe you will be stand-up comedian one day.
Who knows?
Who knows? in your own way.
Right. I almost want to say I will never be a stand-up comedy person or actor, and I know that the shadow theory is saying that, well, this sentence might get you in trouble, in a very yummy trouble. So who knows? Let's see in years from now.
What inspired actually you to go deeper and dig deeper?
So a total new world revealed to me after diving into these concepts. And actually I was realizing that choosing to cultivate my facets of wholeness, I gained the possibility to choose. I didn't have this almost this privilege to be able to choose who is now acting on behalf of myself. Because most of the times, unfortunately, most of people, I think, in our society, they are behaving and acting from a wounded place, from an immature place. And only after I really dedicated my time to cultivate the wholeness, my own wholeness, I felt powerful. Oh, I can choose now. Now it's really a matter of awareness and really expanding my consciousness. So that was really, really something that inspired me. And then another idea that kept me going with this work and with these concepts was the promise that this model is kind of making, the promise that you will eventually get to soul. And when we speak about soul, we speak about that uniqueness, that image that we were born with. And that promise was very alluring for me. I would have given my life, and I think I did give my life to find my soul. Like, why? The big why am I here on earth? What mystery brought me here? And what am I supposed to do with all the powers and talents and gifts and the formula of all of this? Yeah. So that promise made me go deeper and deeper. Yeah, and I can share many other reasons, and maybe I will share one more because I think it's really extremely important, as equally as the other two that I previously shared, was that, I also cultivated, but I had it before, but maybe I enlarged the love that I have for this world, the love that that stays in my eyes, and I feel it in my eyes and heart when I'm looking at the world. And when I say world, I mean humans and more than humans. So yeah, it's a way of loving yourself and the world by embracing this concepts, this art of wholeness, so to say. Yeah. And okay, one more idea here. What made me go deeper and inspired me was that I was seeing the transformation. I was seeing, I was feeling, I was sensing the transformation within myself and in the world around me. And aren't we living to see that happening? I mean, is it one of life's gifts to see and to witness transformation? So that is in brief. I still can say many of the reasons why I went deeper, but yeah, I will stop here for now.
And you mentioned that you saw the transformation within yourself and the world. What was one change you saw and noticed around you when you started to change?
Yeah. I think all the relationships are changing. My relationship with any of the people that I know, either they are close family or just passenger on the street, and the relationship with the world, how I look at a creek, how I look at a peak of the mountain, the care, the love, the awareness that comes through feeding in a healthy way all these relationships. And I'm not referring here that life transformed into just a happy place and from one party to another and worry-free zone. No, I still have and feel all the emotions in the world. But I do have a parental almost eye to ask myself, rage, what are you transmitting? What do you want to tell me? Sorrow, sadness, as well as ecstasy, happiness, and all the others. So the quality of being more rooted and full, I don't know, alive, fully alive on this earth. This is one of the transformations.
So I wanted to ask you, why would one person wish to go deeper and transform and see the transformation? But I hear, like, at least for me, you gave the answer in the end. It's liveness.
It's aliveness. It's purpose. It's the reason why we were born. I think especially nowadays, we have the capacity. Maybe our parents were not asking themselves, "What's my purpose?" Or maybe not so often as our generation, is asking. And I think it's feeding that question, and that question cannot have an immediate answer, an answer that we will discover it in 2 days, I don't know, program, or even 5 days program, but it's a lifelong quest to figure out, and then to offer yourself to the world, and then figure out even more precious layers of your being, and then, yes, delivering that and offering that to the world. So aliveness and purpose, yeah.
That sounds very chill. But could you, for the end of our conversation, could you share one specific practice that listeners might use, might get inspired, that is your favorite, or your most influential practice?
Yeah, sure. One of my favorite ones that I actually have a nice history story with it, because the very first time that I was invited to do this practice, I was extremely skeptical. I was like, what? This is not going to work. And I went for the practice with this kind of certainty that is not going to work. And guess what? It didn't work. But I was perseverant, and I made it work, because I thought that maybe something there is in this practice. It's called the 4-direction circle. And I will just very briefly describe it. Listeners can find it in our manual, described in larger and in written form. And it's an invitation to go on the land, in the nature, but you can as well do it in your living room. But on the land, it's even better, because nature and the world around is part of the conversation. So, as the title is saying, you're establishing the 4 directions, the 4 cardinal points, and you connect deeply with your resources by saying, who are you from your north, nurturing generative adult? Who are you from your south, east, and west? And as I said, nature is accompanying you, because for each of the direction you would choose one element of nature that will hold for you these qualities. And just doing that, it's an everyday practice. It should be an everyday practice. Connecting with the energy, with the truth, with the archetypal image of each of the directions. And then after you create your little circle there in nature of the 4 directions, in the middle of the circle, I usually put a question or a challenge, something that, I need to chew on, and I need help to figure it out. So I put it in the middle, very clearly, very simply, and then I wait. I wait for my resources to guide me and to tell me what to do and how to do, or to tell me their perspective on the matter. And I was very skeptical, like I mentioned previously. I was skeptical, saying that, oh, come on, I put something in the middle, but it's just me answering. Oh yeah, resources, sure. But indeed, they do answer, because we are so complex as human beings. We do have the capacity to feel an archetype from within, and to take its place and speak from that place. We are not just one entity. I mean, we are in the materialistic realm, we are one entity, but inside of our psyche there are many facets, many multiple dimensions that live inside. So we have this capacity to connect with these archetypes. So that's really useful for it, and it was, and it still is, very useful for me.
Thank you. This sounds like an interesting practice I might also try. So answering, who are you? That's what I hear. It's a very powerful question, actually, just to ask yourself, who am I in the end? And every day and every second, it seems it could be something different. And the final question, what is wholeness to you right at this moment?
The very, very first word that comes is home. Is home. And in my home, there can be safety, there can be aliveness, passion, lovemaking, but it can also sometimes the night is coming and I'm in my home and I can see the darkness outside, and there can be also fear and trouble, thoughts can visit me, but it's a solid foundation of who each and every one is. It's a community also of these archetypes that I previously talked. It's a family. Yeah, these metaphors come to me.
Home and family. Wow, that feels very, very nice and cool to hear that we are so unique, and the answers can be so different and unique. It was a pleasure, really, to talk, going through different little breaks and ups and downs, being here with you and having this private conversation with you. It was really a pleasure to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was indeed a pleasure also for me. And yeah, I'm curious to listen to the other podcasts. Now you made me curious about their answers. And thank you for your sharp, natural way of guiding through your beautiful questions and your natural way of being. Yeah, it was inspiring.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode. If you want to dig deeper into the Art of Wholeness, make sure you follow us on Facebook or on our Instagram page. Details in the description section below. The podcast Stories of Wholeness is part of the Art of Wholeness, innovative tools and practices for inclusion of vulnerable young people. This project was possible through the Erasmus Plus program, a European Union initiative.